Have you all heard of Mullah Nasruddin? He's a 13th century Arabian jester. A lot of humorous stories that are attributed to him. And the one that I particularly like is the one where he loses his keys, right? And he's searching for these keys under a street light just outside his house. And a passerby walks along and asks him, "What are you doing?" Mullah Nasruddin says, "I'm searching for my keys." So the passerby, offers to help him out. So both of them search for the keys for some time, to no avail. After some time, the passerby asks him, "Are you really sure you dropped the keys here?" Mullah Nasruddin says, "No, I dropped it inside my house." Dumbfounded, this passerby asks him, "So why are you searching for the keys here?" To which this guy says, "Look, we are standing under the street light. There is more light here than inside my house." That sounds silly? Absurd? Silly as it may sound, this is exactly what we do when we pursue happiness. The key is inside the house. It is inside ourselves. But for some reason, we have chosen to disbelieve it. We have convinced ourselves that this notion of happiness is somehow outside of us. And today my talk is about how do you find that key that is inside of you. And in order to do that, I have to introduce this exceptional personality to you. When I mean exceptional, he is exceptional. Let me talk to you about his accomplishments. He has been a hero of many films. He was in the Indian cricket team. He was a pilot. He was a scientist. Who am I talking about? You know the person. It's me. When I was 3 years old, of course, it all happened inside my head. It was a world of possibilities. And it's not just me. I'm sure you were a 3-year-old at some point in time. Yes? You were all 3-year-old at some point in time. And this world of possibilities existed. Now, what has happened to us? Research shows that an average child smiles for about 400 times a day. And how many times does an average adult smile? Any guesses? Less than 20. What happened to us? Where did we miss that key? Where did we drop it? What happened to us? We all got educated. I know it's an awkward thing to be saying this at an educational institution, one where I did my undergrad, but this is true. We all know it. Just like we all know that the key is inside the house, we know this as well. Now, if you think about it, what is the purpose of education or an educational institution? It should produce people who are authentic, people who know their selves. But does it happen today? The last thing I remember is the minute I tried to smile inside a classroom, the prof would throw a chalk at me. Right? So that's the education system we have. We have Benny Prasad here, amazingly intelligent person. Would you agree with me? Yes. But he's not intelligent from a traditional sense of the word, right? When we think of intelligence, we think of, can he crack this paper? Can he get into an IIT? But friends, this is also intelligence. When input, I'm using the word input because that's how the system works, the input goes into the school or the college. Standardization happens. You have to fit in, you have to conform, and out comes the output, which is the input to the next system in the value chain, which is the industry. So what you have become is a raw material to somebody else. Now, where is the authentic self? It's not found. You will not find it inside the classroom in the current system that we have. I tried to find a nice way of saying this thing, but I think this cartoon nails it. This man says, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb the tree. And here you find a fish inside that bowl. And I think Benny was a fish inside that bowl, a beautiful creature. But he was asked to climb the tree. How does he do it? Now, was it always this way? Was it always standardized. No, we had a beautiful education system, and that was called the Gurukul system in India, right? And there the student did not learn through PowerPoint slides. Showing and telling was, of course, part of it, but you experienced life. You picked up life skills when you were being educated by a guru. By the way, do you know the meaning of the word guru in Sanskrit? You would think it means a teacher or a mentor. Far from it. It means someone who dispels darkness. A beautiful word. Somebody who dispels darkness and introduces light so that you can find your key. But what have we produced instead? We have produced a factory. We have produced a factory where students come out and they are getting ready to get into the industry. In this system, you are unlikely to find yourself, the true, authentic self. Moving on with my life, I did my undergrad and went off to the US to do my master's in computer science, and I got a great job in a multinational company. I had a great car. I was earning big bucks. All that was great, but I had this question: is this what I wanted? No, I was always living someone else's life. It felt that way, and for the last 20 years, I've been preparing myself for this moment, and I have it. But somehow it felt this is not what I really wanted. I've been living someone else's life. It was a moment of crisis. And at the age of 25, I felt like I've hit a dead end. So, okay, so now what? And luckily for me, I had the good wisdom of talking to my life coach. And who's that life coach? The 3-year-old that is inside me. I asked him, so what do I do now? He said, do what your heart says. And you can be whatever you want to be. I am like, are you kidding me? You're saying I can be whatever I want to be? I said, yes. Okay, so if I want to be a dancer, can I really be a dancer? And mind you, I've never danced in front of people, right? Up until that point. But this person said, I can dance in front of an audience who paid money to watch this. Okay, dancing is fine. How about acting? Can I be an actor? Sure, you can be an actor if you wanted to be an actor. I acted in several stage plays. So that's me, a 70-year-old suffering a stroke. A lot of my friends said that was a master stroke. Bad humor, but I could be an actor if I wanted to. And I was getting reviews, great reviews from people, veterans of stage and cinema, and I felt good. I felt alive. Now, can I be a singer? Of course I can be a singer, right? And these are things that I've never tried in my first 25 years. Sounds unbelievable now, but I trained to be a classical singer. But wait, there's more. Are you really telling me I can be a filmmaker as well? Of course you can be a filmmaker if you want to be one. I started making short films. My first short film got selected at the San Francisco International Film Festival. Oh, along the way, I also became a screenwriter, a radio host, a stage director, a compere, a stand-up comedian. All this happened within 2 to 3 years. Okay, I felt alive now. Like Rajat was talking about in the morning, this was like meditation, moving to higher levels of consciousness where you're aware, alive, and you're enjoying it. But along the way, I had this job, right? Remember, I joined this company. I was still with that company. During daytime, I was coding and filing patents. I was doing well. But I was feeling alive doing this other thing. So it seemed to me that I had created a monster of a problem. I was this normal guy, but now I've created so many possibilities in front of me. I've become a kid again. But I had to choose something. I can't be impractical, right? But then that's where the right brain and the left brain had this massive collision. The left brain said, code, code, code. And the right brain said, go act in a play, right? And I think there's a beautiful line. The longest journey you'll ever make is from your head to your heart. If you're able to align these two, I think magic can really happen. So what did I do? I asked myself this question, will the real Rajiv please stand up? Who is this real Rajiv? Who am I? Right? It's a tough question. So now do I have to decide between being an engineer versus being an artist? Do I have to make that choice? So what do I choose? I went back to my life coach and he told me, focus on the being. The doing and the having will follow. Okay, that was an eye-opening statement because what you're usually told to do is focus on the having. I want to have a job. How many of you want to have a job after your program here in at school? Obviously all of you. Right? And then you're doing an engineering program so that you can get that job. Have you ever focused on the being, who you really are? You're not taught to do that in our education system. But if you do it the other way around, when you focus on your being, the doing and the having will naturally follow suit. And that's the beauty of it. So now you don't have to make a choice between being an engineer or an artist. You can be both. Why make that choice? And what that clarity helps you do is define your purpose in life. And it was clear when I looked at all these images, it was clear that my purpose in life is to create authentic experiences for others and for myself, straight from the heart. And once you get this clarity, the form doesn't matter. If you're an engineer, you'll try and do this. If you're an artist, you'll try and do this. Then the doing naturally follows from being. And so what I did after that is interesting. So I combined technology and storytelling and I became an entrepreneur. I started KNOLSKAPE, where we do management training and assessment programs using simulation products, technology, and we narrate a lot of stories in it, storytelling. I managed to combine the two big passions that I had and I created a venture, which is a NASSCOM top 10 company last year. And so this path was not obvious. You had to create it. And so the inner child inside of me said, hey, but you're not getting your stage actor back. That guy is gone. What will you do about it? When I probed him further, he gave me an option. He said, you can be a professor. Think about it. Teaching is the safest form of theater. Think about it. The doors are locked. You have a captive audience. You have 90 minutes with you. You can deliver a monologue. And the safest part is you guys are unlikely to carry tomatoes and eggs with you. The safest form of theater, right? So I could be a professor as well. I teach at SP Jain in Singapore and Dubai. And I do a lot of corporate training programs. And I see people having fun. And hey, you can be a TEDx speaker too. So what am I doing to education? So earlier on I spoke about the Gurukul system and how that needs to be brought back. So in my work life today, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring an experience back inside the classroom through gaming. And what happens in today's education system is you're focusing on one tiny aspect of the being, which is the left part of the brain, the analytical thinker. What about the hands? What about the heart? What about the entirety of your brain? You're not making use of it. So through games, we try and combine the heart, head, and the hand to make it a holistic experience. And smiling in my classes, in my training programs is compulsory. Otherwise, you'll be thrown out. So as it turns out, if you're happy, you can make others happy even without trying. It just naturally flows. So I'm being a little professorial here. I have to give you some takeaways, right? So what is the guide to finding your authentic self? So I realize that I can end up losing that key again. I feel that I've got that key right now where I'm feeling alive day in, day out. It's possible that I might lose that key again. But I know how to get it back. And here's how I'll get it back. Don't listen to Robert Frost. Because somehow you're made to believe there is this path that's well laid out for you, and there is this other path that's less traveled. Who told you that there are only two paths? Why do you take that as a given? Create your own path. Go into one path, create your own path into the other. Don't get boxed in because somebody has given you a nice quote that you can recite. Allow room for spontaneity. This I truly believe in, because in today's classroom, in today's workplace even, it's unlikely that you'll find your true self, because these environments are cookie cutter environments meant for standardization. Here you are unlikely to find yourself. So unless you expose yourself to spontaneous moments. What do I mean by spontaneous moments? Just showing up for an audition for a theater play, something that you've never done in the past. Just show up, see what happens. If you've never done public speaking, just get onto the stage and start talking. Be spontaneous. Chances are you will find your true self. And this is something deep that I learned. In order to find yourself, you have to first lose yourself. And you have to lose yourself in something that you are unaware of. You have to get into an unfamiliar territory to lose yourself. So lose yourself in spontaneous environments. And treat life like a game of cards. And I think Dr. Benny's life is a great example of it. You have no control over how, what kind of cards are dealt to you, right? We are born with some disabilities. We are born with certain traits. We are born with some certain talents. But what can you do? You can take these cards and play the best game of your life. Give it your best shot. Because the cards you have no control over. How you play the cards, you have 100% control. So try doing this. And finally, find your inner 3-year-old. After the session, go talk to yourself, that inner 3-year-old, and ask him or her, what do you really like to do? What is it that you want to do in life? Maybe you'll get a great answer. And one thing that is characteristic of kids is everything is new for them. Everything is novel. That keeps them alive. Somehow, over time, we take things for granted. Today, there have been many things that have happened in your life for the first time. But we don't pay attention. But when you're a kid, the first time your parents gave you the permission to sleep on the upper berth of the train, that's awesome. The first time ever I did it. The first time I wore pants, that's awesome. Right? You feel very happy about it. But think about this for a minute. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Why don't we celebrate it? And a kid is able to see a world of possibilities, and somehow we've forgotten that key. So I'd like to end this by saying the key is inside of you and not outside. Thank you so much.